I doth believe it's time for some C++. My name is Marty, and welcome to a C++ SDL game tutorial. So in this game series, we're going to create a physics-based 2D platformer, and we're going to be writing our own physics system, and we're going to be rendering it using the library SDL. We're going to write it in C++ because C++ is fast. When you're programming games, just remember, you gotta go fast. Then goal is going to be to create a game that's similar to this. Now this doesn't look like much, but if I right click and place a bunch of rats, and I place more rats, well, that's a tsunami of rats. Run, earthquake! This is actually an early prototype for a game that I'm working on with the hopes of releasing on Steam. I just hope the game turns out to be a real head turner, but not a head turner because they have to turn the screen and look away as they go. So anyways, we're going to deal with all sorts of stuff that we probably should have paid more attention to in physics class. But if you didn't, that's alright. You won't need any math expertise or any knowledge of physics at all. All you need is a open noggin, and we'll be cooking up some code just fine. Look at that. It does look cool though. It's almost like it's water, but it's solid. Ugh. Let's spawn some bigger rats. Look at that. Ew. Help. Alright, so in this video, I'm just going to cover how to set up SDL on Windows with Sublime Text. You can actually set up Sublime Text to be very similar to an IDE. And in most cases, it's a lot more fun to work with. We're going to use the GCC/G++ compiler, and we're going to use that on Windows and on Linux just to keep things as similar as we possibly can. So you'll notice that I'm clearly not on Windows right now. That's because I'm on Linux, which this is Pop OS. I do have Windows 7, however, and the setup will be exactly the same if you're on Windows 10, so don't worry about that. However, I don't have internet access on that Windows 7, and that's mostly because I'm not overly fond of viruses. With Windows 7 support now over and cancelled, I generally don't like to connect it to the internet just to be on the safe side. And now you're probably saying, Marty, you just gotta take a few risks. Oh, I do take risks. Every time I open up Windows, that's a risk. So let's open up a browser. Doesn't matter what kind of browser you use. I'd recommend Firefox, mainly because it's just a really nice browser. It gets the job done. The first thing we're going to need is a C++ compiler. We're going to be using MinGW 64. So search MinGW 64 and SourceForge. I'll leave links down in the description. So all the stuff I use in this video will be found in the description. Now, I thought going to DuckDuckGo would make me have less distractions, but what is this? That's some monkey funkle. Alright, we're going to go with this link, MinGW. So MinGW is just basically a runtime environment so that you can get GCC working on Windows. Alright, and then we're going to go to Files. So click that. Scroll down. Keep on this. What? Hold on. What is this? This is a MinGW 64. Go back. MinGW 64. Go with this one. Alright, then go to Files. There we go. So scroll down. We are looking for this one right here. So make sure it's under MinGW-W64 GCC 8.1.0. Don't go with anything earlier or anything later. The reason I say go with 8.1.0 is because it works quite beautifully. All the other ones seem to have something wrong with them, like one didn't have wildcard support, which just makes it a real pain to set up with Sublime Text. So make sure it is 8.1.0. Now we're just going to be sticking to 64-bit compilation for this series. So that's why we go with this x86_64, which actually means 64-bit. I don't design these name choices. Not that mine are any better. I mean, my folders are a mess. But anyways, this SEH one is the Windows specific exception handling, so we're going to go with it because it's Windows specific. So that's the download you'll want. That should download quite nicely. And 3, 2, 1. People are scooting around across the floor like as if it's a hockey rink. Save file. So you'll notice that this is a 7Z file, which means we're going to need something to extract that, which we'll use 7-zip. So just save that file. While we're waiting for that to download, just going to hit the home button. Let's download 7Z while we're at it. 7-zip. Here we go, 7-zip, so www.7zip.org. Alright, we're going to go with this version 19.0. Don't use the alpha, it might not be finished yet and could be unstable, so we're just going to go with this 19.00. Now for the download, if you're on 32-bit Windows, go with this 32-bit. If you're on 64-bit, which I am, go with this 64-bit. So hit that download. We're going to save that file. And let's go home again and get another download. Type Sublime Text. We're going to go to this link, and then we shall get ourselves some Sublime Text. Go to download. Now, Sublime Text currently does come free, which is a very nice thing. However, if you don't pay for it, it's going to pop up every 20 saves or so and ask you if you want to pay for it. If you can handle that annoyance, then it's clear sailing. However, if that really is just going to irritate you, you can pay for it, which I don't know how much it costs. $80. Oh, well. Yeah, definitely not buying that. So go with this Windows 64-bit. Again, if you're on 32-bit, just go with this Windows. So we're going to go Windows 64-bit, and we're going to save that file. All right, now we're going to actually need SDL. So I'm going to go Home, SDL, hit Enter. Ooh, we got an SDL.com and .org. Make sure you go with .org. Again, links will be in the description to all this stuff. So click that, drink some H2O. Always stay hydrated when you're programming because you burn a lot of sweat. All right, from here, there's the download. Make sure you go with SDL 2.0, which is what we're going to be using for this tutorial, and it's what most people use. So click that. Ignore the runtime binaries. We're just interested in the development. So you'll notice there's one for Visual C++ and one for MinGW, which is what we want. So click that link right there, which should start the download, and hit Save File. Now, you'll notice this is a tar.gz file. Lucky for us, since we downloaded 7-zip, we can actually extract that and make it usable. So hit OK, and the last download we need, if we hit Go Home, is just an extension for SDL, and that's SDL_image, which just makes it a lot easier to load images. So if we open up SDL image 2.0, this website looks like it was made in the medieval days, but regardless, it still works and it's safe. Ignore the runtime binaries and just skip to the development binaries. We're going to go with this 2.0.5 MinGW tar.gz. Click that, and that should start the final download. Initiate. Again, you'll notice it's a tar.gz file, so hit save file. And that's all we need to download. So I'm going to go boot up over on Windows. Bye bye Linux, my old friend. Here we are on Windows, the delightful experience that it is. Oh, it just gives me all panic attacks. I got 5 files right here in this SDL setup folder. And we're going there. The very first thing we're going to do is install Sublime Text. So double click the installer. Little thing's going to pop up. It's going to ask you, do you want to add Explore Context Menu? Just check that and then hit next. Hit install. Bada bang, bada boom. Hit finish. All right, now close out. Open up Sublime Text. You can create a shortcut if you want. This is what it's going to look like right now. So the first thing we're going to do is go Preferences, Theme. We're going to set up the adaptive theme. Next, we're going to go Preferences and Settings. So we're going to make things a little bit easier to set up for C++ as an IDE. So that should pop up this Sublime Text window. So make that big, and I'm going to question exactly what is going on with the graphic driver. I don't know. Don't want to know. So far, we've got 2 little settings we've picked out, and that's our font size, which you can change with Control and then scroll. Very easy to change. And then also our theme. So add a comma here, hit Enter, open quotes, go remember_open_files. Set that equal to true. Now, that actually might sound useful, remembering what files we had open in our last session of Sublime Text, but it turns out to be a cog in the wheels when you try and use Sublime Text project files with it. So just disable that. Oh, I meant to say false. Yeah, set that to false. The next thing is hot_exit, and we're going to set that equal to false. And I'm just going to enable word wrapping, so word_wrap, and set that to true. And hit Control Save. Now there's one more thing we need to do on Sublime Text, but I do not have internet access at this particular moment. So I'm just going to insert a little clip that we're going to record on Linux, and it's just one more setting that is going to make our debug messages a lot easier to read. It's going to be exactly the same on Windows as it is on Linux, so you should be good to go. Then go Control-Shift-P, scroll down, and we're looking for Install Package Control. It was successfully installed. All right. Now if we go Control-Shift-P again, now we'll see this says we haven't installed Package Control, but we know we have, so just scroll down and look for Package Control Install Package. In the search, type a resource. Here we go, Package Resource Viewer. So click that, and it's going to install that package, which we do need to edit a Python file that is part of Sublime Text. And that Python file just spits out a bit of debugging information that we don't really need. So if that installed, which it should, go Control-Shift-P and then scroll down until you see Package Resource Viewer, Open Resource. Scroll down until you see Default and then click that. Scroll down now, and we're looking for exec.py because it's a Python file. That's why it's .py. Yeah, right here. exec.py. Alright, so now we're going to scroll down. What are we looking for? Well, we're looking for the important stuff. We'll know it when we see it. Keep on scrolling. I believe it's further. 360 is where it is about. So this line right here, line 365 or 364, just add a little hashtag to the beginning of that. It's in the function finish, and what this little line does is it just spits out some debugging information of the commands we gave to actually use a build system. We don't need that because we already know what our build system is. So if we save that, control save, it should be all set up. Go control shift P. Now this one's optional. It's just gonna display some icons that'll make it look nicer. We're looking for package control install package. So go there again, search icons and file icons. So click that, and that's just gonna install, which makes our folders along the side look a little nicer once we implement them. Package control successfully installed. It said that really quick. It was a little timid, perhaps a bit shy, so it ran away rather quickly. Well, don't worry, Messenger. We don't kill the messenger here. All right, close out of Sublime Text, both of them. Close out of that. Go into SDL setup, and now we're going to set up a MinGW 64. So first, let's install 7Z so we can open up this 7Z file. Double click it. Little thing's going to ask you if you want to really install it. Should we think about this? Yes, definitely install it. We can install it to wherever it tells us, so just hit install, and it should install just like that. Hit close. Next, right click on this x86_64 file. Right click. Go 7-zip, we can just extract right here is fine. All right, and that should produce a folder called MinGW 64. Go to your local disk C, and to get there, just go to my PC and then local disk C. We're gonna keep that MinGW folder right here on our local disk C. Next, go into MinGW 64 into the folder. It just moved because it resorted it. Go into that folder, go into bin, and scroll down. You're looking for a few things. You're going to need this G++ one. You're going to need to make sure you have these DLLs in here, like libatomic, libgcc, libgomp. Make sure you have all these DLLs. Very important. Some versions of MinGW do not ship with them. I don't know why they wouldn't. 8.1.0 does work, and it does have the DLLs, so just go with that. I know it works for sure. As long as you got that, we're good to go. While we're here, we're going to save ourselves some time by click up here, and then you'll notice we've highlighted a little directory. Control C that, and now go to control panel. If you're on Windows 10, it's going to be slightly different, but just get there. Go to search control panel, type in name. Okay, click this, see the name of this computer. You're probably thinking, this is overcomplicated, and where exactly is this rabbit hole leading? Well, let's dive in and find out. So click Advanced System Settings. Now that's going to open up this dialog. Go to Environment Variables. Going to open up another dialog. Now the grand finale, we're going to scroll down, see this path, highlight it, so click it, and then hit Edit. That's going to open up the final dialog. Yay! Look at this. Oh, beautiful. All right, so at the very end of this might look a little bit different if you're on Windows 10, but essentially add a new environment variable, add a semicolon to the end of the very last one, and then hit Control V. So the environment variable we want to add is the C:\MinGW64 \bin. At the very end of that, make sure you have a semicolon. If you don't have that semicolon, it's not going to work. So hit OK. Now we ask ourselves, is this a convoluted and unintuitive way of doing things? Yes. I mean, this is way easier if you were on Linux because you just open up a terminal, start ticking away, type in the commands, you'd be good as gold. But now we have to navigate through this jungle of GUIs. I don't know why they do it this way. I really don't. But anyways, now to test if we have done this right, go to the menu and search for CMD, which is command prompt. We're going to open that up. Now we're going to enter a little command here, which is color 0A, very important. Hit enter, and with that command out of the way, type G++. Now if you get this G++ fatal error, no input files, compilation terminated, we made it. We've got G++ set up correctly. So that's what we want to hear. We want to hear some errors in this case. You know, normally it's enough to give us night terrors, but in this case, an error is what we want. So close out of that. Now we want to set up SDL and SDL_image. All right, so we're going to unpack our SDL. So that's the SDL2 and then dash developer or development. So right click on that, go 7-zip and then extract here. You'll notice that that will actually just create a tar file. So there's kind of a two-step unzipping process. Right click it again, go 7-zip and extract here. And now we should see something a little more familiar, and that's a regular old file. So go inside there, and we're going to be interested in only this folder right here, which is the x86_64-w64 MinGW32. It's basically SDL for 64-bit. So go to my PC, go to local disk C. We're going to drag and drop that folder. Actually, hold the control and then drag and drop to copy it. We're going to rename that to SDL2 and then dash W64. There we go. So that's what we're going to call it. You can really name it to whatever you want. Go back to our little folders here, or little files, and we're going to set up SDL_image. So right click on this SDL2_image, and it's going to be a tar.gz file. So right click it, 7-zip, you know the drill, just extract right here. And then that'll produce a tar file. We're going to extract that here again as well. That's going to produce a folder right here. Go inside there, go into this x86_64-w64-MinGW32. So go inside that folder and then highlight everything, select it all, Control C it, go to our local disk C, go into SDL2-w64, and then just go Control V. It's going to ask you, hey, do you want to replace these folders? Check do this for all items and hit yes. So we are just copying and pasting the SDL image extension of SDL over into the SDL library. All right, so we're one step closer to success and one step closer to madness. So now all we gotta do is set up a Sublime Text project file and a build system. Now for build systems, some people would use CMake. You're more than welcome to use it, but we're gonna go with that. We're just gonna create a raw Sublime Text project file. So create a new folder on the desktop, right click it. It doesn't have to be on the desktop. It can be wherever you want. New folder, name it whatever you want. I'm gonna call this Physics 2D Platformer SDL. So go inside there. And now we're gonna create a bunch of directories or subdirectories. We could just go right click to do it, but we are sophisticated. Go here, and we're going to open up command prompt, and then type the very most important command, which is color 0A, and then type cd desktop and hit enter. So now we're on the desktop. Now go cd and go into that file wherever it is, physics base 2 platformer, and now type mkdir. So that means make a directory, make a folder. We're going to create a source folder. We're going to create a include folder. We're going to create a bin folder. We're going to create a folder inside bin called bin debug. Can I get a little more real estate there, Windows? No. Oh, I can get more. I can get real estate here, but nothing to be gained here. Got a little housing shortage here. And then we're also going to create a subdirectory inside of bin, and that's going to be called release. And we're going to create one more, and this is going to be called res. Res is where we're going to keep all of our sound files and our textures. So hit enter. Oh, I'm thinking Linux still. If the command doesn't work and you're in the command prompt, just hit up to redo the last command. Now, forward slashes don't exist in Windows. It's all about the backslashes. Why is it about the backslashes? Well, Windows wanted to innovate. They needed to be different. And in doing so, they became different and renowned for a system that just doesn't make sense. And if you hit enter, now it should create a bunch of folders. You could just use the GUI to do it. It's completely fine. I just find it's actually easier to use the command line on certain occasions. If you go into bin, you'll notice we got debug and bin, which is not what I wanted. Okay, we're gonna have to do it manually anyways. So just new folder, debug, right click, new folder, release. There we go. Good as gold. Alrighty, so now if we go back, we got ourselves a nice little directory system, nice little folder hierarchy. Alright, open up Sublime Text, and we're going to create ourselves a Sublime Text project file. So open up some squirrely braces. Inside those squirrely braces, open some quotes, type folders. So we're going to get some little folders showing up along the side. Hit enter, open up some square braces, and then inside the square braces, open up some curly braces. And inside there, open up some more and go path, add a colon, open up some quotes, and go into bin, and then back. This is a little hack, so we'll just open up all the folders in this directory. Add a comma, hit enter, open quotes, and go file underscore exclude underscore patterns. Add a colon, open up some square braces. Inside the square braces, open up quotes and go asterisk. So everything that is a .sublime dash project file, well, don't show that along the side. If we go Control Shift save this to our desktop or wherever your project file is. The great thing about Sublime Text is once you get this all set up, you just have to copy and paste project files. So we're going to name this as physics 2D platformer.sublime project. Make sure it's spelled right and hit save. And then close out. You'll notice now in our folder, we got this Physics 2D Platformer Sublime project. Double click it. And now we'll see we got something different. We got folders along the side. Now we can go project and edit our project. This is really the beauty of Sublime Text is everything is dealt with in JSON files so that you don't have the hassle of graphical user interfaces gnawing at you. Add a comment to the end of that square brace and then open up some quotes and type build underscore systems. So we're going to create a couple build systems. Add a colon and then open up some more square braces. Inside the square braces, open up some curly braces. Inside those curly braces, open quotes and go name. We're going to set that equal to, open quotes, build release. And if you go Control save, just like that, and then you go tools, build system, you'll notice we got this thing called build release. Actually, let's do build for debug first. Debug. Add a comment, hit enter, open quotes, and now go project underscore dir. So this is the project directory, or it's not project dir, it's working underscore directory. And then we're going to set that equal equal to, open quotes, $, open up some squirrely braces and close them, project underscore path, add a comma and hit enter. Control save that. So hit enter, open quotes, cmd, command. So this command, which this is very cool. Whatever we type after here, in quotes of course, is actually going to be run through the command prompt. So let's go G++, add a -c. So we're telling G++ with -c to just compile it, don't link it. Save that step for later. Now what do we want to compile? Everything that is inside of source, and it has to be a .cpp file. So source is where we're going to save all of our cpp files. Now we add some command line options. So go -std, set that equal to C++14. We're going to roll the C++14. Add another, and this is going to be -g. This is just going to produce a few more debugging symbols. -w all. So -w all tells the compiler to tell us all warnings or errors. And then -m64. M64 says run this in 64-bit. Make sure you compile a 64-bit executable. -i include. -i include tells the compiler if you can't find a certain file, look for it inside of this directory right here. Add another -i include. Now minimize all this. Open up a file explorer. I've got a bunch open, so I'm actually going to close out a few. Go to your local disk C, go into SDL2-W64, and inside there, click up here, copy that file path. Control C, go back into Sublime Text, and then paste that right after that -i. Now, this backslash thing, very troublesome, because everything else in the computing world uses forward slashes, but Windows insists upon backslashes. I have no idea why. Because think different, expand your mind. With a backslash. Add a forward slash. We're going to use forward slashes from now on. And then type include. We're going to say, hey compiler, if you can't find a certain type of file and you've looked for it everywhere, check out this directory right here, which is where the SDL header files are located. Alright, so that's going to take care of compiling. We just need to take care of linking. Add 2 ampersands and then type G++, add an asterisk, and then everything that is a .o file, which will be generated to right here, well, then link it. And we're going to output that with a -o. Output that to bin/debug in this case, and we're going to call it main. Now we add linker command line option, so go -L, paste that directory of where SDL is, except replace that backslash with a forward slash, add another forward slash, and type lib. So this is for the linking part. Linker errors are just the best. Make sure you have this here. If you don't have it, you're going to get linker errors, and I tell you, they're not fun. Oh, and if you're wondering, this is all one line here. Don't break it up into 2 lines, otherwise it doesn't work. Alright, in addition to that lib stuff, we're going to need something else. And that will be -L MinGW 32. So we're saying, hey, we're using this library. Make sure you stitch that together with our own program. Add another -L, and this is SDL2 main. Make sure you do this in the exact order, otherwise it does not work at all. Then we link to -L SDL2, and after that, then we go -L SDL underscore image. After all that is done, that will actually compile our program. But we want to do one more thing, and that's run the program. So go 2 ampersands to run another command through the command line, and go start bin/release/main. Add a comment to that, hit enter, open up some quotes, type selector, add a colon, open quote, and we're going to set this to source.c++, add a comma here, open quotes, go shell, set that to true. All right, control save that, go control N to create a new document. And let's just go #include. We're going to write a quick little program, SDL2/SDL.h, #include SDL2/SDL_image.h. Go int main, open up some parentheses, and inside there, go int argc, comma, and then character pointer args, and then open up some square braces. Hit enter, open up some curly braces, go control shift save this in wherever our project file is, which we gotta search for that. That's on the desktop, and that's in physics 2D platform or SDL. Save that in source. We're gonna call this one here main.cpp, and we're gonna hit save. Alrighty, now so far we've just created a basic main function, which is the entry point for the program. This int argc and char pointer args is very important, and it has to be done exactly like so. This is because SDL has a very strange system of setting and initializing SDL, wherein they tie into the user's main function and set some stuff up there. Just to prove this works, we're going to go std:\cout, yay! There we go, yay! Because it works. SDL:\endl. Oh, but we need to include a library to do that. So let's go #include iostream. Iostream is so that we can print stuff out like so. Control save, go tools, build system, build debug. Nervously hit the F7 key, because that's how you compile and run things with Sublime Text. We got two problems. The first is we need a return 0 here. Now, we need this return 0, even though this is C++ 14. You may have heard you don't need return 0s in later versions of C++. However, you do need it if you're working with SDL. Now, the other error is we need to go into our project file, and in our linker settings, I forgot to add a 2 here. You guys may have caught it, but you gotta add the 2 to SDL image. So if we save that, go into main.cpp, save that, and hit F7, crap, my pants scared me. Okay, if it says, hey, it can't find this, it means it compiled. So that's a win. Go back to our project file, and I said start release main, but we haven't got that thing up and running. Set that to start debug. So quick little typo. This should work now. Control save, go back to main.cpp, hit F7. More errors. This is a good sign. The program can't start because SDL2 is missing from your computer. Right. So hit OK. Now we need to do one more thing. That is, we have to go into our local disk C, go into that SDL2-W64, go into bin, and then copy all the DLLs. Yeah, don't worry about the licensing and stuff. Just copy the DLLs. That's exactly what we're looking for. Control C it. Now let's go into our own folder. In my case, it's right here. Go into bin, and then for debug, paste all that goodness right in there. You need to have these DLLs in the debug and the release directory. So let's do that as well for release right now. Control V. There. If we run our program now, so hit F7. Oh, hey, it blinked out pretty quick. So let's get a quick little std:/cn.get going here so that we can actually see what's happening. Hit F7 again. It'll now pause and say, yay. Okay, we got it all set up. We're good to go. We can start writing SDL code. Except for one thing. We got to create ourselves a release build system. So that's not all that hard once we've got the debugs build system created. Just copy all that. Or actually, copy this. Control C. Include those squirrely braces. We're going to need them. Control V down below. Add a little comma after this curly brace. Set this name here to build release. Take out that -G and replace it with a -O. Make sure it's a capital O, not a 0. 03. So that's going to say optimize that to the maximum for performance and for the file size. We're going to add one more flag, and that's right after this -O here. We're going to go -S, which says strip all debugging symbols. If we're releasing, we're going to want to make the file size as small as possible, especially if we had the idea of releasing this on mobile. Almost good to go. Change this debug here to release so we're not overwriting what we got over in debug, and set this debug down below to release as well. Control save. Everything should be good to go, I should hope. We can close out of that and go tools, build system, select build release this time. Hit F7, and if it still works, yeah, it does, hit enter. Now, one more thing I noticed. If we go into bin, then along the side debug, it says it's empty, but we know it's not an empty folder. Well, if we want to see exactly what we got in all of our folders, which I do believe we do, just go preferences, settings. I forgot to add one more setting, which is you just have to go open quotes and then, oh, make sure you gotta have a comma after every line. File _exclude_patterns. Open up some square braces, open up some quotes. Inside there, just go everything that is a .sublime-project file, and control save that, and add one more here. So add a comma, open quotes, and then go everything that is a .sublime-workspace, and control save that, and close out now. All right, so now we can see along the side exactly everything that we have, which is what we need. To use this system, there's two things you need to know. The first is that whenever you delete a source file, so if I went into source and I went, hey, I don't need main anymore, I'm gonna delete it, make sure you delete the corresponding .o file. Otherwise, you're gonna get a whole lot of error messages, probably some memory leaks. Secondarily, once we start using textures or sounds in our game, and if you want to actually run the program from bin and debug or release, you're gonna have to copy res, so control C it, go into bin and debug, and then paste it in every time you add a new texture or sound file to res. So paste it in. So make sure you keep res up to date with me. Alrighty, so that is the entire setup. So every time you go to create a new project, all you gotta do is just copy and paste this folder. You can create a template folder if you want for this. Call it Sublime Text project file template or whatever you want to do. And then setting up project files will be a breeze. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you got any questions or comments or anything didn't work quite right, just let me know down below. Code like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next video. Sponsor time. After setting up a large process such as setting up SDL, programmers can get tired. Programmers can get strung tight, tighter than a violin, and that's not good. Luckily, there are ways out of stress, and one of those ways is through comedy. But the problem with comedy is not everything is funny, which is why we have incredibly good gems such as McVanBuck. So McVanBuck Trophy Mosquito is a sample for a bigger McVanBuck to come, and it's a collection of hilarious stories that are bound to make you double over laughing. McVanBuck is a series written by my dad. It's currently in the works, so this is a prelude to the bigger book that's going to be coming up right away here. Let's open it up and just have a little read. When I started to complain of how thin the paper was and how it was not going to get the job done effectively, Grandma J grabbed a good thick handful of newspapers and handed them to me, saying, "You can use these newspapers just like we did in the old days." So I did just like she said and flushed them all down the toilet, just like they did in the old days. But the toilet got plugged. I tried flushing it again, just like they would have done in the old days. Then my socks got wet and I panicked and flushed the toilet one more time. It is surprising how much water can come out of one of these devices. It was looking like if I flushed again, I would soon be swimming for my life. There are 3 unique, humorous, clean stories in this McVanBuck mini book, and all of Peter Mast's humor, which is my dad, is clean, which is a breath of fresh air in the comedy world, because it's easy to make jokes that are dirty, but there's an extra level of challenge when you try and make jokes that are clean and can appeal to a broader audience. So if you like laughing, and you've had a stressful day of coding, which we all have those from time to time, give McVanBuck a try. I'm going to be giving away 10 of these mini books for free. All you got to do to claim it is just send your mailing address to codergopher@gmail.com. Laughter is guaranteed.